They're some of Australia's newest citizens, but they settle in a country where debate about their arrival and integration simmers. Elizabeth came to Australia as a refugee in 2005. 6 years later, she can call Australia home.
I come here and my daughter,
Yep.
and then I born my two boys, so I am happy a lot for Australia.
The issue of border protection has long been a contentious one. The Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, is determined to keep her people swap deal with Malaysia alive. Just as determined, refugee advocates in greater numbers than ever before, who along with the Greens want to see an end to offshore processing and mandatory detention.
Refugees are not for profit.
As unease at the policy direction of the federal government grows, you don't have to go too far to hear a view widely held and linked with the policy stance of both major political parties.
Send them home. They don't belong here.
There is a sense in the community that people should come here through the proper process. I, for example, represent a very multi-ethnic electorate, and people who've come here as migrants themselves think that there is a proper process and that people should go through that process.
You know, fleeing persecution is not an orderly process. People do what they can do to survive. And so the idea that people who come here on boats are somehow less acceptable than people who come here on planes, I just find ridiculous.
When she became Prime Minister, Julia Gillard encouraged debate about responses to the plight of refugees and asylum seekers who arrive by boat. Yarra Council joined the debate and installed a giant banner outside its Richmond Town Hall offices.
A lot of people who are very worried about refugees, I would imagine, don't know any. And once you know some refugees and know what their stories are like, then you get a sense that actually this is not a threat to anybody.
Accompanying the numerous concerns about immigration is Australia's ability to cope with the rises in population that come with it. An economic report in 2010 tipped Melbourne could become Australia's most populous city by 2037. A year earlier, federal Labor MP Calvin Thompson released a 14-point plan for population reform. Within it, he called for cuts to migration and skilled migration.
It should be cut back from that 200,000 or that 180,000 number to 70,000. It comes at the expense of the effort that we should be putting into educating and training young Australians. And I also think that it's a fraud on those countries from whom we take their best and brightest as skilled migrants.
Some of the world's best and brightest from France, Germany and even England have declared multiculturalism a failure. In Australia, our leaders won't go so far.
I think it's a work in progress. I think the problem is with the ism. Multiculturalism, because it's seen to mean different things. It can be seen as a kind of ideology that has to be blindly followed by some people. I think it's better to talk about the fact that is we are a multiracial country. I don't think we actually need the ism.
I think Australia has its own unique identity, and that is something which should be fostered and cherished and promoted. Everyone has their own particular contribution to make to it, but we do have an identity which is worth talking to the world about and talking to our own community about.
An identity these citizens will help shape. Ben Kimber reporting.